So how has it changed over the course of, I don't know how many years, but since 97? How have you seen, because I know that I have exercise science in my background. I worked in a physical therapy clinic as well.
Yes.
And so the things that there was this kind of traditional things that you just did to fix, you have low back pain, stretch your hamstrings and strengthen your core and you're done.
Right.
So how have you seen that change?
Well, this is a big question that we can spend some time unpacking. Um, just a little step back into my history. What tends to happen with therapists, and I think it still happens today, is we go through these various courses to learn various ways of helping people, right? We've got
Mm-hmm.
ART, MAT, Pilates, and all the various things we could go hours on,
Mm-hmm.
so many acronyms and so forth. And so you learn a technique because the technique is supposed to fix something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that has been a modality or mode of thinking that we've had in our therapeutic world for decades and decades.
Mm-hmm.
That I have a technique that fixes pain. And through my 30 years of doing this and a lot of frustration, I've found that that equation doesn't really work, that a technique fixes something.
Right.
What I have found is that we can use exercise, hands-on therapy, tools like foam rollers, stretching the hamstrings, core strength, and all that stuff as like almost like a sonar ping where I'm going to use something to approach your body. But
Mm-hmm.
then we have to complete the circle. And what I mean by that is then how did the body respond?
Mm-hmm.
Did it recoil? Was there more pain? Did the person actually understand what movement was asked of them?
Mm-hmm.
So if we change the perspective of it, I can say that I now have a palette of tools of
Right.
ways to approach a body. Could be Pilates, yoga, foam rolling, all the things I mentioned before, right? Or physical therapy. But now, how did the person respond? And this is the new chapter that I opened up in my work and that I have found incredibly helpful is that now that the person is now involved, there's what's that called? A dialectic? Is that the right word? Or, a
Mm.
connection between the people. Now we have an energetic connection and I can get them to start to feel their body.
Right.
And this is where the healing occurs. It's not just because I threw some super awesome exercise at
Right.
you,
Right.
but now the person goes, oh, I didn't even know that my leg wouldn't go out that way. How do we
Right.
approach getting that leg to go out that way, free up the hip musculature,
Mm-hmm.
and give the body a chance to turn down that volume of pain?
Yeah. I think one of the things that it makes me think of is that there's 8 billion people on the planet, and there's not a single one of us that has the same genetic makeup.
Right.
So it's like one size fits all isn't necessarily the case. And I know that, like, as you mentioned earlier, it's no fault of the physical therapist because my physical therapist saw 20 patients an hour.
Oh my God, right?
So, I mean, and that's what they had to do. So when someone comes to see you, you're spending like an hour with that actual person, right? And
Yes,
I
indeed.
think that makes a huge difference for
I totally
sure.
agree.
Yeah. So what I imagine that there's some people that have acute pain and some people have chronic pain. Do you mostly get the chronic pain people?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Acute pain
But-
stuff, for the most part, you can throw a little Tylenol and ibuprofen at it if we're talking, they stubbed their toe or they just moved
Mhm.
wrong, and that pain will usually resolve itself. But it's the
Yeah.
stuff that gets stuck in the system that's been there for, say, 2 months, 6 months, several years. That's the stuff where we really have to start to apply these concepts that I'm talking about to get the
Yeah.
person out the other side.
Right. Do you get referrals from physical therapists and from doctors?
I do actually. A couple of the people that I met at the ranch made good connections with, and in fact, I happen to be working with a client today who is a new referral from that doctor, and it's really good to have those connections.
Right. So tell me, so I would imagine that for most people, back pain is the most common thing you see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think that's just is that a factor of our lifestyles and our
I would
posture?
say so. Yeah,
Yeah.
so much sitting, and just not a lot of varied movement in our life, And people even say, "Oh, I go out for walks. I'm moving," but that's such a linear activity. And we've got
Mm-hmm.
such a greater opportunity for movement that people don't do. But I think
Right.
the sitting, the compression, and all of that really, and by the way, in a sitting posture, just to take kind of a little detour, when we're sitting, those back muscles are chronically stretched. The tendons and ligaments are chronically stretched.
Mhm.
And so in that position, we need to give the body a chance to get back, pull itself back together. And that's where I
Mm.
think this movement, especially I love Pilates for this because
Mhm.
it works that area so well, is to get those tendons back to where they need to be.
Do you think, what are the benefits of stretching
Mhm.
and what are some, because I think stretching has been on the cutting block for years. As
Absolutely agree.
yes or no, dynamic, static, whole,
Sure.
it's kind of a crazy thing.
This is my perspective on stretching, and I'm a yoga instructor still of 30 years, right? So
Mm,
when I say that I'm not a fan of stretching, people might go, wow, well, that's kind of weird to hear. How can you be a yoga instructor and say that?
mm-hmm,
But if I describe a general stretch, let's say you lie down, you put a strap around your foot, and you pull a straight leg up into the ceiling because you're going to stretch your hamstrings, right?
right. Mm-hmm,
Usually we consider we're in a stretch if it hurts. If you think about it, right? That leg,
right.
from the floor to 45 degrees to maybe 60 to maybe 70. And now at 70 or 80 degrees, it's like, ooh, there's the back of my leg. I'm stretching. I don't see it that way. I see that sensation as the body saying, you're at the end of my tolerance right now.
Right.
What we usually do when we feel that sensation, we pull harder because I'm tight.
Mm-hmm,
And so we try to override the body's protective mechanism.
mm-hmm,
And done chronically, and especially yoga instructors, I find women, unfortunately, are kind of guilty of this, especially bendy people. I'm one of them, and I know this because of experience. And we just keep pushing against that sensation boundary. I'm going to call it pain now, not stretch,
mm-hmm,
and
right.
pushing and hoping that we'll finally kind of break through that, or our body will let go, and that end range won't be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm,
But I'm here to guarantee pretty much everybody still has that end range feel, and they keep forcing through, and it's not going to change. So what I would rather people do is approach that end range feel and learn to respect it for what it is, a boundary. And I want people to learn to be strong in that position. So once
mm-hmm,
again, if I'm on the floor, I take my leg up, I feel that boundary. I would want to put hamstring muscular resistance as though I'm going to push my leg straight back down to the floor. So
mm-hmm,
now I have control there, and my nervous system isn't like, why does he keep pulling on me and pulling? Now I'm
right.
in control. I'm building actual stability around all the tendons and the sciatic nerve and everything else.
Right. I can remember having personal trainers take my arms and then just pull them beyond where I could pull them. So
Yes,
that space between where I can effectively hold the stretch and where someone else can pull me to, that's the scary area. Is that
absolutely.
correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's where injury occurs.
Yeah. And I appreciate that you call it scary because it really is. And if you're even saying that, your body is acknowledging that's like, I'm not sure I should be here. I can't control this on my own.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think it's a misconception about what pain is telling us. What do you
Yes.
think pain is telling us?
I love this question because this has been the biggest transformation in my career. Um, what I used to think of pain as a misbehavior. And by that, I meant my client or myself, we have pain. It's got to go. I don't care what it takes, any technique, just get the pain out of here. And I finally started to really question that when I got into the neurology of pain and brain science and pain science. And I reformulated how I look at that. Pain is protection.
Hmm.
If you think about pain, what does it do? It slows you down or stops you from moving. Typically, if we have pain, we withdraw from activity.
Hmm.
We can sometimes withdraw socially. So everything it's doing is trying to get the system out of danger so that the healing process can occur.
Hmm.
So then let's kind of put the old mode of therapy on top of that model. And it says pain is a misbehavior. So what do? We stretch everything really hard. We push on things. We try to get that pain out of there.
Hmm.
But like I was talking about before, there's no interactivity with the nervous system that is producing the protective pain.
Right.
So what transformed in my work is that I started to see that pain as an opportunity to approach softly, slowly, and calmly. And my job as a therapist is to figure out where I need to enter the system so that I'm not another threat.
Hmm.
What movement? And here's a simple one, pelvic tilts. You're lying on your back. Your knees are bent, your feet are on the floor, and you rock your pelvis back and forth. Innocuous, right? Super easy on a system and a body. And the body can go, I can do that. I'm safe. Okay, so we move that protective barrier or that comfort barrier up just a little bit. That's awesome. Next exercise, we add a little something. Maybe we put one leg up in the air. Do your pelvic tilts. Body's like, cool, I can do that too. What if we put both legs up? That hurt my back. Okay, we found our threshold. And so my work then is designing a program to slowly work each exercise that's under the radar, and it builds confidence. Every exercise builds the next step of confidence. And that's how I can get the system to feel safe enough to no longer need pain. That's how I look at it. And that has been so effective for me and my clients.